All right, folks, we have some interesting updates today on the Nintendo Switch 2. One of them involving how it's going to actually help turn around growth in the video game industry, according to a really big analyst that works for Circana, which is formerly known as the NPD. So this is somebody who knows this stuff and has access to all the sales data in Nintendo's biggest market. In fact, it's the biggest video game market in the world, at least in terms of consoles. So that is something, obviously, that we want to pay attention to, what they have to say. We also have some brand new rumors for Nintendo Switch 2, kind of like 3 of them, and they're all exciting in their own way. 2 of them are about different games coming to the platform. The other one's about some really cool accessories that one of them is actually pretty weird. We're going to take a look at that, but it is part of Nintendo's history, so we're going to look at it. And then, on top of all of that, we have some updates on the rumored Nintendo Direct still happening this month. Yes, folks, I know, right? We're like halfway through the month, but guess what? That Direct is still coming, at least according to this special industry insider. So, pretty excited for all of this, folks. If you're enjoying all the news and all that, hey, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll probably put 2 timestamps down below. We'll kind of split it up into here's all the Switch 2 stuff, and then here's all the Nintendo Direct stuff. All right, here we go, folks. Let's go ahead and dive in. But boom, first off, we have U.S. Circana's Matt Piscatella believes Switch 2 will get the market back to growth. And as we go down here, we'll see the quote from Matt Piscatella. He posted it here over on, looks like a Reset Era. And it says, if these 2 things do happen this year, and they do meet the expectations going into this year, I think you're looking at low to mid single-digit % growth in overall market spending on video game products. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it would result in record spending on the consumer side. It would get the industry back to growth over that 2021 peak that we'd previously seen. And most importantly, I think, and a little bit of a thing not a lot of folks may be thinking about, is it gets investment flowing back into the game space. And if we just take a look here, it comes from this video here that was posted up. So I do find this to be really interesting because he's talking about, hey, if Switch 2 hits the metrics it's expected to hit, things get really, really exciting. And look, that to me is really good for the industry because he's worried about the industry in the whole. He's not into console wars and all that, but he's basically saying if Switch 2 hits the metrics that everyone's expecting it to hit, it's going to cause investment to happen. Because right now, there's not a lot of not investing or lack of investment back into the video game space right now, especially on the console front. There's still lots of investments happening on like mobile apps and mobile games and all that. That is the biggest part of the video game industry on the whole. But looking at the dedicated console space, honestly, investors have been kind of pulling out. A lot of money's been poured in. A lot of flops are happening. A lot of people are being laid off. And in general, it's safe to argue that like the AAA space especially isn't exactly healthy in the current environment of the space. So he's kind of saying, hey, look, that could all change with Switch 2 and cause companies and cause investors to reinvest in the console space just by having Nintendo Switch 2 be such a banger out the gate and having all this big third-party support. They'll especially want to invest in support in a new ambition or a new company or a new project if it's going to end up being on Nintendo Switch 2. So to me, this is all just really showing that while PlayStation did have its best holiday, in large part thanks to the launch of the PlayStation 5 Pro, it still was down in sales year over year, and that's likely going to continue. Even GTA 6 with the boost it's going to give, that's like probably coming towards the end of the year. That boost might not change the fact that it might be, again, down year over year. We'll see. Obviously, we don't know how great the impact of GTA 6 is going to be on PlayStation sales, but if GTA is also on Switch 2, which some people think it will, then that would obviously help boost that as well. So the bottom line is this is just fascinating that it seems like a lot's riding on Switch 2 for the whole industry, even though that's not on Nintendo to carry the industry. Kind of interesting, though, that it's being phrased that way. Now, we have some more stuff here on Switch 2. We have a bevy of rumors coming over from Nash Weedle. Now, if you guys don't know who Nash Weedle is, he is a Spanish leaker. He's over and puts all his stuff over on X, and he participates in the Nintendo Leaks podcast and stuff like that, which is also a Spanish show. He's very transparent, and he was mostly gained his popularity from being spot on about Metroid Dread coming back, specifically using that terminology, but well before the game was announced. So that's really cool. He's gotten a few other things seemingly right along the way, a lot of other things pending, and obviously some things that just didn't happen. Hence, this is like the way insiders go. Plans change, whatever, right? So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's the most reliable person out there. He's definitely not a Nate the Hate or a PH Brazil, but he is somebody who has a little bit of a track record and is somebody that I haven't honestly paid attention to in a while. I didn't realize he had so much stuff out here over the last week. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. And first, remember how I talked about GTA 6? So is Nash Weedle. GTA 6, I can't pronounce most of this besides the Impossible Port. However, look, the Impossible Port kind of gave away what he was talking about. So I did go ahead and use Google Translate here. And sure enough, GTA 6 will be the next Impossible Port, which makes sense when you go back and look at his tweet when he's linking things like The Witcher 3 and stuff, which was given that similar reputation. Now, I am not sure if GTA 6 is coming over. It is announced for Xbox Series S, which makes me feel like, hey, it's not a giant leap to go from S to Switch 2, at least in my opinion. Of course, I don't have the hardware. I'm not a game developer. So we have no idea if that's going to be a thing, but I do think we need to pay attention to the fact that that is planning to be a thing potentially behind the scenes, and that Take-Two CEO didn't rule it out. In fact, Take-Two CEO, when he recently talked about this, didn't rule out any of their games for Nintendo Switch 2. So that was already a telling sign that they would at least consider putting Grand Theft Auto 6 on Switch 2. So we're going to have to sit back and wait and see what happens with that. And it does help that Take-Two CEO didn't rule it out. So that's pretty cool. But you know what game was shown recently? There was this really neat, interesting, fun game shown in yesterday's State of Play. I didn't really enjoy most of the State of Play, but this game did catch my eye. And Nash Weedle is saying it's coming to Switch 2. What game is that? Well, one of the games that caught my attention for most is mechanics is Darwin's Paradox. We will have to wait to see the official announcement, but I can tell you that it will come to Nintendo Switch 2. And Darwin's Paradox was that game they showed off with the squid. And look, I got to admit, the squid stuff looked really, really cool. This game in general looked fascinating. In fact, I remember while I was live reacting to this, I was like, man, I really want to see more of this. We only saw it for, what was it, like 30 seconds or something? But look, I want to see this Darwin game on Switch 2. I want to see this game on everything. This looks like one of those like Another Crab Treasure kind of games where it's not that same type of game, but a really interesting indie project that is taking some popular stuff from mainstream and doing new things with it. And I'm all for that. Like Another Crab Treasure is amazing if you haven't tried it. Kind of feel like this is giving me that sort of same vibe. It's not just because it's oceany, because it's not all in the ocean, actually, when you look at the gameplay. It's just the idea of it taking already known gameplay aspects from popular franchises and then doing something fresh with it with a brand new character type. So I really, really like this, and I hope that this does end up on Switch 2. It feels like a perfect Switch 2 game. That being said, Nash Weedle wasn't done. Here's something he put up yesterday. It says the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be the most versatile console in history. Nintendo is preparing multiple accessories for the console to offer us multiple ways to play. And then he actually names some of the accessories. So accessories such as a keyboard. Yes! Guys, I kind of figured when we had mouse support, keyboard could be counted. Now again, don't know if this stuff is true, but I want the keyboard to be true. All right, let's go to see what else he says. A camera. Okay. Yeah, he even puts that in the image down here. There's a camera, there's a keyboard. But then he also mentions this, a joy ball, etc. So there's going to be more accessories beyond that will be added to the easy connection with other devices. Now, what the hell is a joy ball? That was the first thing that came to my mind is, what's a joy ball? It sounds like something, for her pleasure. But actually, it was a real product for the NES. The original one was created by HAL Laboratories, and we actually have a video on it over here by Other Retro, showing himself using it, obviously in Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros. And look, it works kind of like a D-pad, right? It's like a D-pad. Maybe you want to argue it's like a joystick, but there's really like got 4 buttons underneath it. So you lean it left, lean it right, lean it forward, lean it back. It's a D-pad for all intents and purposes, and it's not as good or as accurate as a normal D-pad, and it's why this product didn't take off. Now, if you don't recognize it in that format, it's understandable because there were actually several different types of this released after the original, including this one that gained a little bit more popularity called the QuickShot IX. It's this thing right here, and it's a very similar concept as you see it used here. And as you see with this one, we'll go back here and see it taken apart. You can kind of see that it is a button mechanism. So you got like these 4 little switches there that you push the ball onto, and it just does the actions just like a D-pad. So kind of interesting that would come back. The only reason I can see it coming back, because it's obviously not as good as anything modern today, is the fact that, hey, it's retro, and maybe it's like an NSO thing, right? They could release retro NSO controllers. They've done this already for things happening, and like HAL Laboratories made the thing. Some people feel like it was maybe intended to be used with Kirby or something. So, hey, you know what? Maybe they bring it back as like this retro cool thing you can buy because people do like to collect retro things. And when they come back, like with the SNES Mini and the NES Mini and all that, people like to just even collect them, let alone use them. So who knows? I guess maybe the Joy Ball could come back. I feel like it's an oddball accessory to bring back, but you know what? For the nostalgia, for the handful of people that didn't know, that at least used it and knew what it was, cool. We'll see if that ends up happening. Obviously more excited about the prospects of what the camera could do, and obviously the keyboard. Keyboard functionality I think is very obvious. Typing, certain games that could play better with a keyboard, but keyboard mouse combo. But you know, the camera, that could be for voice chat, that could be for different gameplay things. So we'll see what happens with all that stuff. Again, these are all rumors, so remember, take them with a truckload of salt. We don't actually know what any of them actually mean in terms of the grand scheme of Nintendo Switch 2. But I would hope all these rumors are true, because that would be utterly fantastic. Now we dive into the Nintendo Direct. That's right, folks. We expect a Nintendo Direct this month. No, seriously, we do. It was originally rumored by PH Brazil, and that's pretty much it. There's been a couple things along the way, like Nate the Hate saying that, hey, Kirby Planet Robobot is coming out this year. If it's coming out this year for Switch, it would make sense that it would be in a Direct if this is supposedly a Switch 1 Direct happening this month. Well, we finally have a second person saying the Direct is happening this month with their own individual sources, and of course, that person is Jeff Grubb. That's right, industry analyst, insider, journalist, whatever you want to call him. I guess analyst is probably the wrong word, but journalist Jeff Grubb has opened his mouth on this. And you know what? I'm not going to quote him. I'm going to let Jeff Grubb speak for himself from the latest episode of Last of the Nintendogs.
I heard that there would be a Nintendo Direct this month. And again, it wasn't much to go on, but it was something like the pretty reliable source said, yeah, there would be one like this month. And I asked again, and they said yes again. So, hey, does that mean that there's a big, huge Direct that everyone should get excited about that has all the answers for everything that we've been like asking? Probably not, actually. But I think there's going to be something, a mini Direct, partner showcase, something along those lines. So yeah, I say Direct, and really just means a Nintendo thing along those lines. It will probably happen this month. Again, this could fall through. Maybe this is a little bit, it's strange times with Switch 2 coming out. They already have a Direct announced for that. So who knows exactly what this looks like. But yeah, I think something probably does happen. And again, we point to those things that we do need answers for, Metroid specifically. They're going to want to like give a date to that thing and really say when it's happening. And I think they're going to want to do that before that April 2nd Switch 2 Direct.
Could be. Maybe it's even one of those things where it's like, hey, here's a Direct just talking about Xenoblade Chronicles X, and
exactly.
That's it.
Very good point. Yes. Now, the way I'm hearing it through like third party, so I would expect that, you know, it probably has something to do with some people have their game in the show. So, you know, maybe it'll be a little bit more than that. But you're right. It still could just be a focus on one game easily.
And as you saw there, because I kind of spliced a little forward after the initial quote, his sources come from third parties. So like the idea of this being like a first party only thing obviously isn't out there, or it being like a Xenoblade Chronicles Direct was floated out there. And he's like, nah, that's kind of weird because what I'm hearing comes from third parties. So bare minimum, third party Direct. Direct Mini, or General Direct is really the only three options that Jeff Grubb sees as possible. And they do a whole podcast episode speculating, no sources or anything, just speculating on what this Direct could be and what could be in it. Fun stuff. In fact, we went ahead and did a speculation video on what could be in the Switch 2 Direct on our podcast Clips channel. If you want to go check that out down below, we put that one up today. That being said, look, I do think a Direct is happening this month. And I've been saying for a while, even back when there was like, I don't want to call it rumors, but when there was speculation on it happening on the 5th, I even said that in that video, I thought it was going to happen like the week before Pokemon Direct. And I've been saying that for, honestly, before we even got to this month, if there was going to be a Direct, because it just felt like it made sense to me. It clears out, it lets Switch 2 breathe a little bit, lets Sony get their state of play out of the way. And then, hey, it's Nintendo time, it's Pokemon time. Then we get a little month breather, Switch 2. So, we'll see. Is there actually going to be a final Switch 1 Direct? Is it going to be not just a third-party Direct, but actually like a Nintendo Direct Mini with first-party announcements? Is it going to be a general Direct? I'm going to tell you right now, I have a gut feeling, and this is just a gut feeling, that it's going to end up being a general Nintendo Direct, not a Mini, because Nintendo will have enough announcements in it, combined with third-party and AAA and all that, to justify this being a general Direct. Is it going to feel lackluster compared to the April 2nd Direct? Well, no shit. I think we're all well aware that Nintendo's best games and all their best eggs are being saved for that Switch 2 basket. But it is the season of love right now. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. So with Valentine's Day being tomorrow, I would love for there to be a general Direct next week. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if this happens. Anyways, folks, I am Nathaniel Robojanks from Nintendo Prime. Let me know what you think about all these stories, the rumors, the Direct, the craziness of the Joy Ball, and everything else in between down in the comments below. And I will catch you guys in the next video, or if you happen to be around on a live stream tonight.